on with Diode Dynamics. Today in this video, we're going to be showing you how to install both our 6-inch and 18-inch Lightbar kits on a 19 Plus Ford Ranger. Let's get started. Our first step is going to be to remove the license plate, and if you have one, the factory bracket. To do this, you'll just need to remove the two 10mm bolts that is underneath of the bracket. Then, using a plastic trim removal tool, pry up on the two tabs that are holding the top of the license plate bracket to the bumper. Our next step is going to be to remove the 5 plastic push clips on the underside of the bumper using a plastic trim removal tool. If you're installing the 18-inch kit, you'll need to remove the lower portion of the bumper here. If you're just installing the 6-inch kit, you may be able to get away without doing this, and we'll show you how. But since we're installing both, we'll need to remove the 5 10mm bolts holding on that lower piece. Now that those are removed, we can go ahead and pull off this bottom piece. There'll be clips all the way around, so it's easiest to start on one side and pull and work your way to the other. Now you can go ahead and disconnect those two bumper sensors and set that piece over to the side. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and remove these two nuts using a 13/16 socket. Now, if your truck does not have adaptive cruise control, you can go ahead and skip this step. But if it does, like you see here, we're going to have to remove it and potentially relocate it if you want to keep it. To do that, we'll be removing two 10mm bolts that hold it onto the bumper from the back side. Once those 10mm bolts are removed, we can go ahead and wiggle the module out through the front of the bumper. Be careful not to scratch the paint when doing this. After that's out, we can go ahead and disconnect the harness from the module and then use a plastic trim removal tool to remove the harness from the bracket. Next, we're going to be putting on our brackets with a small surface facing the inside on either side of the truck. To do this, we're going to slide them over the studs and then put on our nuts just snug enough to hold the brackets in place, but loose enough so that we can adjust the light bar when we're fitting it all up. Now that we have those brackets installed, our next step is going to be to wire up the wiring harness. Now, we're not going to show you how to do this just because it'll vary depending on your application. Just make sure that you have a 12-volt power source, a ground, and a place to mount up your switch. Now we can go ahead and fit up the light bar. To do this, we're going to be lining up the holes on the sides of the light bar with the slots in the bracket, and then taking our supplied hardware, putting it through the slots, and lightly threading them into the side of the light bar. Now we can go ahead and tighten down the two 13/16 nuts that hold the brackets onto the truck. Now we can go ahead and make our final aiming adjustments before tightening down the hardware on either side of the light bar, holding it to the bracket. Our last step is going to be to reverse the same steps we used to take everything off the vehicle, put everything back on. Moving forward with our 6-inch light bar install, we're going to be installing our supplied clip nuts by sliding them over the outermost holes on the upper portion of the bumper with the raised portion facing up. Now, if you didn't remove the lower piece, this is where you could get away with installing these by just pulling down on that bumper and sliding these on. Now, if you took off this lower bumper portion to install a 6-inch kit, we can now take it, plug in the sensors, and snap it back onto the vehicle. Now we're ready to install our brackets. It's important to note when doing this that the flat surface of the bracket will be facing the outside of the truck. And go ahead and take our supplied hardware, starting with our bolt, lock washer, and washer, slide it up through the slots on the bracket, take our other washer, put it on top, and then screw those into our clip nuts. Now we're only going to be threading these on loosely, that way we can have room to fit up and aim the light bar. You're going to want to do this for both bolts on each bracket. Now you can go ahead and route your wiring. Much like the 18-inch light bar, we're not going to show you how to do this just because it'll vary depending on how you want to route your wires. Just know you'll need a 12-volt power source, a ground, and a place to mount your switch. Now that our wires are routed and our light bars are plugged in, we can go ahead and take our supplied 10mm bolts and bolt them through the brackets and into the light bar before making our aiming adjustment. Now that we have our light bars bolted to our brackets, we can go ahead and turn on our lights and make our left and right and our up and down adjustments. And once you have that to your liking, we can go ahead and tighten everything down all the way. Our last step is to put everything back on our vehicle by reversing the steps we used to take everything off, except for those 4 plastic push clips we replaced with our bracket hardware. As you can see, whether you're installing our 6-inch or 18-inch light bar kit, not only will it give you a clean off-road look, but it'll also give you a significant increase in light output. If you're looking to pick up a light bar kit for your vehicle or any of our other products, visit our website at diodedynamics.com or use our dealer locator tool to find a dealer near you. Thanks for watching.